Okay, really thought I'd gotten through all the stuff I had recorded before when I couldn't make sound, but turns out hadn't, so we're going to be recording over another past game. This is Turdz versus Smokes in Chat Tournament 37 semifinals. The rounds of this may come out of order in the videos, like I may insert this before some games. This was round 2, I may quarterfinals, I may put it in before semifinals videos, because chronologically it happened after, but, you know, it feels like it should have happened first. That said, let's take a peek at these hands. Now, I don't think I got in before the first move while scrolling down. Yeah, so let's see if we can get a shot where we can see all the cards. Okay. No, we've spoiled the next move because Smokes plays so fast. So, okay. Here's our first shot of the starter. What's Turdz' idea? He played a move he could recapture easily and create some difficulty for Smokes, only having the 1 capture from 2. Well, Turdz has 3 captures from 2 and also 3 captures from 4. But Smokes attacks it immediately, and I think this is an interesting move because he notes Turdz' recaptures here aren't actually very pleasant. For instance, 2 of them have a 2 facing down. And if either of those are played in 5, we should also note the rules here. This is no plus wall. So got to be careful to note no plus wall. Otherwise, 6, 3, 2, 6, and 7 would be an incredibly appealing move here. But without plus wall, if we look at these captures in 2, either of the cards 3, 6, 2, 6 or 6, 3, 2, 6 with the 2 facing down is going to be comboed by 5, 5, 3, 4, and 5. So you're left with only 1 card that could capture, and that's 1, 5, 3, 7, and 2, but that's comboed by 6, 1, 4, 6, and 5. And I think this is something Smokes is really good at, because he made his move, we're 40 seconds into the video, he made his move, well under a minute, and it had a really good sense of what Turdz' numbers are, and from Turdz' perspective, it's very easy to think, okay, I have 3 different recaptures here, something's going to work. And then looking at the position, Smokes having this instinct of but a lot of those have repetitive numbers facing towards 5. I don't need to cover that many different numbers, and I do cover them. So I think this was a really nice attack to start a game. In general, how do you want to meet something like this? Where maybe you can calculate out that 2 survives, but it seems really unlikely, right? Because if you play 2 and Smokes plays 5 now, you have no threat in 7, so Smokes is really locked in 1 and 4, and you haven't locked in anything at all. You don't have great recaptures on 2, you don't, I think, have big combo setups in 9 against 5. This, really, really unappealing. So you can't really go 2. What's the next square you look at? Well, I think it's got to be 7, right? Our top priority squares should in general be squares that lock stuff in, or squares that have, lower outfacing number of places, higher potential for safety. But actually, maybe before that, we should check 8. We can also check the combo square. That's the kind of third of the 3 really critical squares here, is do we have a big setup in 8? And our bottom 3 cards would all need a 7 facing up from 8 to make a threat in 5. And we don't have a 7 facing up. And our final card would need a -1 facing up. And of course, we don't have that. So we can't make a threat in 5 via 8. And if you're going to play an 8, the important combo square to set up is 5. You might also like to have a combo in 7, but 7 is going to be an inherently valuable square whether or not it has a combo because it is safe, it's locked in. 5 is the one, your opponent is likely to take 7, and you're going to want to have the threat in 5, and here there is no way to create a threat in 5. Occasionally, creative players will throw out moves in squares like 6, with a similar concept of creating a major threat in 5. But A, I'm not seeing a way to do so. I guess 3, 6, 2, 6 is technically possible. And B, it tends to be a significantly worse version. Because if you go in 8 and they're forced to block 5, you have this really nice square in 7. Well, if you go in 6 and they're forced to block 5, it is not as clear that you get a really good square. And here, if you were going to do that, you'd want to have 3, 6, 2, 6 still in your hand because the game would become very side to side, and it's the card that has to come out of your hand to set up the combo. So really not an appealing way to play. The combo squares aren't very appealing. Occasionally there's reasons to go in 3 or 9, but those are substantially less likely. There can be reasons to go in 5. One reason here that actually you might seriously consider 5 is that 5 does lock in 4. But if you were going to do that, you'd really want to A, check for combos everywhere, like can they set up in 9 against you, can they set up in 3? You'd have to be very careful making that move. And B, even if you know they don't have combos, you're also going to want to have play against 2, because it's likely, you locked in 4, they're likely to go in 2, locking in 1. And if you don't have good play against that square, you're going to be in an unpleasant situation. And here, all your captures against 2 from 3 could be recaptured in 6 by 4, 4, 7, 2, and you won't have any play against that. So it all seems very uncomfortable. This is clearly a difficult position. So just because something seems really uncomfortable doesn't mean we should dismiss it as not working, because we're probably going to be choosing between uncomfortable options. But the square I really wanted to get to, I just got distracted going through kind of everything, is 7 here. Because I think 7's the standard square to play. 2 is where you want to play if you have a good capture, but Smokes' move is very much designed to fight against 2. 8 can be very appealing if it has combo potential, but we have no combo potential here. And so 7 is often where you end up, and I think 7 is just a very logical square to look, and I believe it's where Turdz plays. This game was played a little while ago, so I won't have perfect recollection of it. But I think 7 is where Turdz plays, and I think it's the right square to be playing. And I want to say that in 2 kind of terms. One is, it's the only square with 1 out facing, right? And it's a square that's dead to you. You have no captures of 4 from 7, right? 7's never going to be a useful square to you unless you can grab safety in it. And at this moment in time, you have the chance to grab safety in 7. Now, that doesn't mean in every situation similar to this, you have to play in 7 because that square is dead to you. It may be dead to your opponent as well. And so there can be reasons to leave it open. But here, it is going to be dead to us, and it is the one place we can grab safety. So it's very appealing on that front. The other way I want to think about it, and this is kind of similar, but it's sort of a general heuristic I think is useful, is when there are 2 cards next to each other, a corner and a side, not including center, but like a corner and side next to each other, if you have attacks on both those cards, and you can play in the 3rd square in the line, and it doesn't capture anything, and you have a situation where first turn has 1 safe card, and second turn has 2 cards that are in some danger. They are capturable. You may have combos back, but they are capturable. But has a 6-4 lead. Second turn is the 6-4 lead. They have 2 things flipped. That gives them more room to just block stuff in or to pick which card they want to protect because they don't desperately need to hold both. So they have a 6-4 lead, and first turn has the advantage of they have the only safe card on board. In my experience, that tends to be a fairly balanced situation, inherently. Second turn sometimes can find a big advantage out of it. First turn can sometimes find a big advantage out of it. But my kind of heuristic for those positions is they're fairly balanced. If your cards aren't terrible directionally, if it's not really easy to keep all the combos. For instance, here, we have 2 different ways to capture in 2, but Smokes needs to hold on to 2 different cards to combo them, right? Using up our card that will be safe in 7, 3, 6, 2, 6, still leaves us with 2 different numbers facing down from 2 if we capture there, and so that locks up a lot of Smokes' hand. And so, in general, I just think the 1 safe, 2 weak rule, where second turn has the 2 weak and first turn has the 1 safe, it tends to be, in my opinion, about balanced. Doesn't mean no one ever wins, right? Balanced positions mean I think it leads to wins pretty equally in both directions, and leads to ties some chunk of the time. There are some positions that are balanced because they're automatically going to lead to a tie. There are some positions that are incredibly complex but balanced because each one will win 50% of the time. This is, somewhere in between. But I really do find the heuristic useful of when in doubt in these positions, if you have safety in that 7 square, it's probably fairly balanced. Now, in positions where you're doing it because all your other options are terrible, it's likely to be at the worst end of balanced. You're probably in trouble. In positions where other options are appealing, but it seems even better, it's probably going to be a pretty favorable version, leading to net balance. But I do think it's a good instinct to go there. And if we skip ahead, I think that's where Turdz goes. I do find 5 interesting here, though, in general. So now we're thinking from Smokes' perspective in this kind of 2-weak, 1-strong situation. And I remember I was talking with Reye while this game was played. Now, I think, as Smokes does not make the move Reye was suggesting, but Reye had a very logical recommendation, which was 6-5-4-1 in 5. You lock in 4 forever, and you create pluses for yourself in both 2 and 8. And none of those pluses are shared by Smokes. You give him no combo potential, and you substantially increase your own combo potential with high numbers facing out, and getting rid of a card that has a very weak strength facing the action, while creating uses for your other card with weak strength facing the action, because 4-4-7-2 now has a threat in 8. I think this is a very logical move. If I remember right, the solver doesn't say it's winning, but it is a very appealing move. And when second turn is winning in these structures, it is often because they have that kind of move in 5. The other square you standardly want to check is 2. In general here, I think most moves in 2 can probably be met by 6-3-2-6 in 5. Flipping 2 things, first turn leads 6-4, and that's probably going to be enough to tie here. Smokes went very creative, though. He actually plays 6-5-4-1, but not where Drew was thinking. Not where Reye was thinking, sorry. I should call him Reye. And goes in 9. Creative consideration. But what's the point? Well, 6-3-2-6 in 8 is a kind of standard move to make, right? That will make it 5-5, and you'll have this wall of 6s facing up. But 4-4-7-2 is potentially quite strong there. 4-4-7-2 in 5 makes it 6-4 in favor of Smokes, and sets up 6-1-4-6 in 6. But 1-5-3-7... 1-5-3-7 in 2 should tie there, because that makes it 5-5, and... No, because, sorry, I'm counting wrong. So 6-3-2-6 in 8, 5-5. 4-4-7-2 in 5, 6-4, and if you go in 2, you can flip either 1 or 5, but not both, and I will go 6-1-4-6 in 6, flipping back 5 if needed, but importantly flipping 9, which is now blue, leading 6-4, and you won't be able to capture back. So this is a serious threat. If you go 8, 4-4-7-2 and 5 is probably really strong. Sorry, I haven't looked at this position, so I'm just kind of skimming it now. 6-4. Oh. For instance, also another line is 6-3-2-6 and 8, 4-4-7-2 and 5, takes a 6-4 lead. If Turdz plays 2-5-6-2 and 6, still trailing 6-4, but relying on 1-5-3-7 to sweep at the top, then it doesn't quite sweep because plus wall isn't on. 6-1-4-6 in 3 goes up 7-3, and 1-5-3-7 and 2 actually only captures one thing at the end. So okay, this is dangerous. The move in 8 that looks appealing, and I think this is what Smoke's plan was, is make 8 an appealing square, but 4-4-7-2 is winning there, and he found this clever synergy between 4-4-7-2 and 6-5-4-1 when neither card is yet on the board, that he could have this useful setup in 5. It's a neat concept. I remember reading what Reye said about the game, but I don't... Yeah, I wasn't watching carefully at this point. Interesting concept. So where does Turdz go? I don't remember. Turdz takes his time and goes 2, right? The other square to do something useful, didn't find a productive move in 5, goes in 2. And now I remember looking at this and thinking, at worst, Smokes can play 4-4-7-2 in 5 and tie. Because that, currently the score is 5-5. That will make it 6-4. If Turdz goes in 8, you can just play 6, 1, 4, 6, and 6. You will recapture anything back that's needed, and Turdz is nothing at the end. So you'll... or Turdz can only have 6, 3, 2, 6, capture 2 at the end. So the worst that can happen is you tie there. If Turdz goes 6, then he can at most capture 1 card, and you at least can capture 1 with 6, 1, 4, 6 in 3, but you also don't really have to capture something. You could just go in 8 because it's going to be 5, 5. Yeah, so that move looked like a pretty safe tie to me, and I didn't see a win. The other thing Smoke's move set up is if Turdz doesn't block 8, he can play 6, 1, 4, 6, and 8 himself. He set up a same. He set up an attack against that card of Turdz's. So the other key move to check, I guess, is 6, 1, 4, 6, and 8. That would flip a card and put Smokes up 6 to 4. However, Turdz's move in 2 has set up a plus in 5 for both players. So Turdz could take that plus in 5, and that's going to flip a whole lot of stuff back because the combo through 4 hits 7. Yeah, so that's going to be fine. So then the last question is, what if Smokes takes the combo in 5 himself? So Smokes can go 6, 1, 4, 6, and 5, and that's going to flip 2 as well as 1, and that's going to go up 7, 3. But I think Turdz's idea there is to play 2, 5, 6, 2, and 8, which is a plus against that 4. 4 plus 2 equals 5 plus 1. Yeah. So I don't think there should be a win here for Smokes, and I know he ends up playing 4, 4, 7, 2, and 5. But interesting specifics here. Nice idea from Smokes going in 9. Maybe 5 was the better move, but I like this concept of going in 9, creating a threat in 8, and if they block 8, at least with the obvious card to block 8 with 6, 3, 2, 6, I didn't check the others, he is winning, I think, with 4, 4, 7, 2, and 5. I do think that's a win. So, nice concept. Creative idea. The Reyes move is good as well. Alright, Smokes takes slightly longer than previous turns, but still plays quite quickly. Goes in 5, and I don't know that we actually got the last few moves of the game because I might not have reloaded fast enough. Yeah, it just skips to the end. But I believe what happened was Turdz played 2, 5, 6, 2, and 8, capturing 9. Smokes played 6, 1, 4, 6, and 6, recapturing 9. And Turdz is down 6, 4 there, but 6, 3, 2, 6 captures 2 back, which was flipped by the move in 5 to make it 5,